Good evening. My name is Jason Delisle. I'm president of the Speedway Town Council. It is 7:04 p.m. on October 28th, and I call our meeting to order. We will first start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, quick introductions. Normally our town manager is here with us. He's not feeling great tonight, so we wish him speedy recovery. But to my right is our town councilor, Sarah Gardner.
Good evening.
Town councilor, Sean Harold.
Good evening.
And to my left is our town attorney, Ted Nolting.
Good evening.
Our clerk treasurer, Philip Faust.
Good evening.
Town councilor, Vince Noblet.
Good evening.
And our vice president, Nick Sturgeon.
Good evening.
All right. First item is approval of minutes from the October 7th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve our minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll second it.
All right, any questions or comments regarding our minutes? If there are none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes of our October 7th, 2024 meeting, say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes 5-0. Our next item is approval of our memorandum of the administrative session of the Speedway Town Council on October 7th, 2024.
Make a motion that we approve the memorandum of our administrative session of the Speedway Town Council on October 7th, 2024.
I'll second.
Oh, here it is. Okay, any questions, comments? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving our memorandum of our administrative session of the Speedway Town Council on October 7th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 5-0. All right, our next item is approval of a quote for purchase of a new 1-ton dump plow truck for the street department. And I have a couple notes here from Grant, who's given us a couple things to discuss today. So just a couple things we'll mention about this. The dump truck is a replacement of a 1-ton 4x4 dump plow truck using funds from the American Rescue Plan. These quotes, we requested a number of quotes on July 1st, and we received 3 different quotes. The first is from York Chrysler Dodge, an amount of just over $97,000. Hare Chevrolet, just over $88,000, and Ray Skillman Ford was our third quote, received at right around $97,000. And the street department recommends the quote from Hare Chevrolet, as it is our lowest.
I'll make a motion for the approval of a quote of the purchase of a new 1-ton dump and plow truck for the street department.
I'll second.
All right, any questions or comments?
Was this, do we know if this was budgeted for as part of their current year?
This is, the intent is to use the American Rescue Plan Act.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I had a chance to talk with Street Department Head Rob at night, and they're in need of this for the basic operation of plowing, and a lot of work is being done. They definitely need it.
And during other months and seasons, they're able to use it for other things, not just salt trucks and things like that. So.
All right, if there are no other questions or comments, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving our quote from Hare Chevrolet for the purchase of a new 1-ton dump plow truck for the street department, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. All right, our next item is approval of a maintenance contract with McAllister Cat for the Municipal Center Emergency System. And a quick note from Grant regarding this. This is a maintenance contract for the SMC generator at just over $3,000 per year. Philip, I don't know if you have any additional thoughts, comments regarding
I do not.
the motion? Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the maintenance contract with McAllister Cat for Municipal Center Emergency System.
I'll second it.
All right, any questions or comments?
So just to make sure I'm reading right, this is a one-year contract. Is it evergreen, or will we have to look at a new contract for next year?
I've not been involved in this contract negotiation.
Grant question.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
this-
necessarily pertinent to that, but just
Yeah, I mean,
curiosity.
it sure, I believe this is a one-year contract.
Just as-
Yeah, everything
okay,
is
no
year
renewal.
one.
Okay.
Because there's additional maintenance on the one at Police Department. They've got a huge one, and then Fire Department, they're all backed up separately.
Yeah, and looking down here, they've got year 2, 3, 4, and 5 spelled out at zero cost. So I think it's, it says 1 year grand total too. So yeah, this looks like a 1-year contract.
It's more looking at for the renewal terms.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Oh, here's contract term, 12 months. too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
More curiosity than anything.
All right. Any other questions or comments? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving our maintenance contract with McAllister Cat for the Municipal Center Emergency System, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 5-0. All right. Yes, just want to make sure I'm doing, I know this is our second reading. All right, our next item is ordinance 1396, which authorizes and regulates the use of motorized golf carts in the town of Speedway. This is our second reading. Yep, do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1396, an ordinance to authorize and regulate the use of motorized golf carts in the town of Speedway.
I'll second it.
All right, any questions or comments? I actually had a couple quick.
Yeah, well, if you don't
Go ahead.
mind,
Yeah.
I know we've got a few folks here. I would yield my time if anybody would, from the audience, would like to,
Public comment?
a couple comments.
Yeah.
With that, I will say, on social media, I was engaging through my candidate page. Overwhelmingly of those that were interacting were in favor of this. There were some concerns, some legitimate concerns around safety. There were some comments about not having the golf carts, being able to be used on race day. It felt like that was be a benefit to the town and to the folks for getting around. I see that. I know that was something from the public safety side. There were some current concerns about having that traffic in addition to the heavy traffic that we see on race days. So, but overwhelmingly, folks are in favor of this. And so I thought I would point that out.
I was contacted. I got a detailed memo today in relationship to his concerns of this ordinance. And I think he didn't have a chance to read the current one. I intend to bring him up on a lot of that. He was very concerned about the safety end of it. He also lived on Auburn and was concerned about, the current speed of people moving up and down north and south on Auburn. And he was thinking that this applied to Crawfordsville Road and Lyndhurst, which were, big factors in making that safety decision. But race time too, I think it's another consideration. It seems like everybody now comes to the race with a golf cart attached to the back end. And so I noticed that we were basically banning through Thursday on to race, which is excellent because of eliminating a lot of the crossroad travel and a lot of people that are not going to be familiar with this ordinance. So it's going to be a lot of a learning case at that point in time. So we really need to get the basics out there when they're getting the permit, that they understand exactly what they're signing from the permit standpoint, and their insurance also has to be updated. In fact, to give them coverage on that end, if it's critical that, or if they are stopped, that they have proof of insurance with them. So those are just a few comments that I wanted to make up front.
I had a couple quick things too. So you mentioned, let's see, you mentioned that one of the adjustments we made was Thursday before a race until 4 hours after the conclusion, that golf carts be prohibited during that time. I don't agree with that. I'd like to see it only on race day, but having this being the first year that we're doing this, I think I'm okay with this for the first year at least. So personally, I would like to see that amended in the future. You know, assuming everything goes okay this year, I like to see that just on race day only. So just kind of, I don't know, just personal thoughts on that item.
It's still available for personal, or for property, the property owners. So on IMS property, they can, they utilize a lot of golf carts in relationship to their property, the 80 acres up there, the 20 acres behind me. People will snake down all the way as close to Main Street as they can get at that point. So I understand what you're saying too, and it's nice that you can make it from the south side of the town all the way up to the north side and really participate without hiking. And you can't get your car, but you could get at least a golf cart.
Yeah. So something else too, I'll just mention too, that one of the items that we did add on here was the addition of prohibiting golf carts on Lyndhurst Drive. And that was, Michelle Leidy had sent me a note about that, and I totally agree. That was something that I think we overlooked on the first pass. So thank you for the comment there. And just the third thing, we did add an item in here too. So if you do live on Lyndhurst and want to have a golf cart, we added a provision in here that if you live on one of the roads where golf carts are prohibited, you actually can't have a golf cart, provided that you exit that main road on the closest side street. So that was just a couple of changes that we made. And again, this will be a little bit of a trial and error first time. So, hopefully everything goes smooth. There's no issues, but, we're going to review this in a year's time and make any changes that are necessary.
Yeah, and again, want to thank the committee for all the time they put into this. Really appreciate all the thought that was put into it, and I, like Jason, I too would like to see, race weekend. I understand race day. I would like to see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday having the ability to do so. But like you said, maybe this first year we go through, see how it works out on, this first time through, and then we can make adjustments if needed. So I think it's a compromise that I'd be willing to make on that one. So
Yeah, I second. Because I guess as a resident, I'm thinking I'm going to spend X amount of dollars on this golf cart. I'm going to insure it. I'm going to do all this, and I can't drive it, and I'm going to see somebody else pull into town and drive it. That's frustrating,
Yeah,
right? And then
that's-
I'm thinking, why would I have one? Or I know there's more than race weekend, but that's a huge weekend. Yeah. And so, and I get why we're not, but even like, it's, to my opinion, it's the leaving of the track that's the problem, right? Yeah. We don't want golf carts, and then the traffic pattern, I get that. But the morning of, and I mean, everyone's kind of going at their own time. I see how people are saying, but I could drop off my friend. there's a benefit to it. So I get that it's going to be, I get that people would be frustrated because I get that. But I also want to see what we can do and make sure that people are being safe and doing this right and well, because in my mind, this is a way for our small community to really come even closer when you're out in a golf cart and you're seeing your neighbors more and you're going to dinner or whatever, dropping your kids off at school. I heard like the seniors talking about like, once you're 18, you could take that to school. Like how cool would that be? My girls were talking about it and they're only 9. So there's some really good things, but just like anything, a few bad apples can ruin this for everyone. So I just, hope that we can do this well and, that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, no, good.
Yeah, no, and I will just say from, putting my former police hat on and having directed traffic on, Crawfordsville Road and Lyndhurst at that intersection, even before you've got motorcades coming in, you got the escorts, and I mean, I see the concern. And just having that smaller vehicle there. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
The convenience factor, even the morning of, I totally get, but I understand where our public safety folks are coming from on race mornings. So again, this is not state law that we're trying to change. This is an ordinance that, if we see things aren't working, we will tweak.
Yeah.
And so I just, make that promise to our residents that, we listen to a lot of feedback, getting 30 plus people to come in and get to this point is a awesome feat of cooperation and, just trying to do something that I think will see some benefit to the town.
Yeah, you make a very good point because in parking cars race morning at like 2 o'clock all the way through start of race, the speed in which those caravans, the escorted, they're going 50 miles an hour. I mean, you got policemen in front and sometimes behind. They're trying to stay together. And then if they come up on a golf cart traveling at 15 miles an hour, I mean, we're going to have some real problems in a relationship. But those are limited too, if not, to Lyndhurst, 25th Street. They brought a ton of escorted groups down and buses down 25th Street to get down to that parking lot right over on the straightaway there. So,
But to be clear, if we're not allowing on race weekend from Thursday through 4 hours after the race, then the $200 for non-residents and race fans coming in, that's really moot, right? I mean, that's not going to be a thing. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, well, for race day.
Yeah.
But if
This is
they're,
race day, this is Thursday through.
well, for race events, but if somebody from out of town wanted to register a golf cart in town for, and come for maybe some other unique event or something that we have, I guess there could be situations where.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you now.
Stay at one of the
But
RV
quick
parks.
question, like the ones that have them in the Coke field that aren't taking them on our roads, that's still allowed, or has that never been allowed?
it's
That's
I mean,
not
it
our-
has not been allowed, from IMS's standpoint. They
Okay.
use ATVs, in fact.
Yeah.
And, but they haven't enforced anything in
Okay.
relationship
So I
to
mean,
the-
technically
to
now
their
that would fall
property.
under this
Yeah.
ordinance and they could be fined
Well,
potentially.
if
or no?
they got to be able to get on
No.
the road.
Okay. Yeah, as long as they're not on the road.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of a thing. They're two different things. Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments regarding ordinance 1396?
Jason, you guys can still allow for comment.
Yeah, I will yield back some.
Yeah, sure. Alex, you want to come up here to the microphone, please?
Thanks. I wasn't sure if you guys had scheduled
No, it's okay,
speakers
yeah.
or. Alex Weismuller, 6209 Ward, Unit F. First of all, thanks for opening the floor for comment. And also thanks for opening, I know Nick has put stuff out on his Facebook, getting public comment and input, and I appreciate that. Pop quiz, how many people live in our town?
Less than 14,000.
14,000.
So only 170 people voted on that poll.
It's not it's scientific.
I know.
But it is still and I said of those that responded, were in favor of it. So I didn't say it was a scientific poll. I was just stating the results that were there.
When the council says that many people are in favor of it, I think it's irresponsible to say when you guys are only putting something out on Facebook, when you're not putting stuff out on email, putting out a newsletter, reaching out to all of your residents to get actual input on this, because you guys know how the internet is. It's a black hole, it's an echo chamber, and I'm sure that you guys are getting a lot of immediate input, like face to face or through email, and I hope people are reaching out, and I really wish that more people were here tonight. But I get it. But I just encourage you guys to reach out to the entire town and really engage residents in this conversation. And I just hope you guys don't rush into something that leads to regret. So thank you for your time.
All right.
Any questions for me?
No, but to address, at least from my perspective, I know I've had more conversations than that. That is just one avenue to engage. So to inform you, at least me personally, having conversations outside of social media, but that is just one avenue for how I engage, because it's a certain demographic that does that. But at least for me and the folks that I've talked to, trying to take, as, the numbers and time and ability to reach out as many folks within the town as I can. So I'm not saying it's representative of 100% of the town, but at a certain point when you start seeing themes in those conversations, try to deduce at least what, the feel of the town is based on, whatever sample that I can get.
Yeah,
So,
and I also want to add that, the fact that, we had the ability to take a look at other communities, Lebanon, for one, that's had it for a long period of time. So, we basically reached out to them and other areas, small communities around the state of Indiana to get their feedback. What's working, what's not working. We had a couple, basically we brought together a lot of the good attributes, and so as far as what the police departments wanted to see in that, what's working in relationship. Other communities, far as, what benefit is it besides somebody driving around in the golf cart? But it was basically what Sarah was saying, the building a place. And a lot of them are golfing communities too. But you look down in Florida, you see more golf carts than you do cars, and a lot of through those communities. It's an elderly community and the younger community that's enjoying both of it. So it's the ease of getting in and out and then just seeing your surroundings. And as long as it's like anything, you have to use good judgment in relationship to it. And I think with it being a yearly renewal, we can make the modifications to that point. And we just are encouraged, I think, when they come in and get the permits, that we make sure that they understand exactly what they're signing up for and the responsibilities that they have as that property owner using public streets.
Well, I'm just hoping that you guys just give this more time to cook in the oven, and I hope that you reach out to more residents in the town. So, thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, any other questions or comments regarding 1396 from the council? All right, I'll call for a vote. Well, actually, we are voting on this, aren't we? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 1396, which authorizes and regulates the use of motorized golf carts in the town of Speedway. All those in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed? That passes 5-0. All right, our next item is ordinance 1397, which is an ordinance of the town of Speedway Indiana, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds of the town for the purpose of providing funds to be used for the costs of the acquisition of rights-of-way, design, engineering, inspection engineering, and the construction of certain road improvements, together with all necessary appurtenance, related improvements and equipment in connection therewith. This is second reading. Apologize for the long ordinance. But Philip, do you have anything you'd like to add here?
Yes, thank you. We had our first reading at our last meeting, and this will be the second and final reading for this ordinance, which will be paired with the ordinance 1398, which is our next item. This is primarily funding for 25th Street and the Crawfordsville Road pedestrian improvement projects that we're hoping to go forward with next year and into 2026. So I would ask for your approval on this. This will allow me to move forward with our application before the Indiana Bond Bank, and we're targeting an expected closing of around December 11th.
Can I just say, make a motion to approve ordinance number 1397 without reading the whole?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, any questions or comments regarding ordinance 1397?
I feel like these are two important projects for the town of Speedway. You know, anybody drives up and down 25th Street, need I say more? And on that, I mean, it's been way overdue in relationship to total reconstruction, and that costs a lot of money when you go to that. The second item with Crawfordsville Road, you know, all the sidewalks stopped, you know, basically at 22nd Street, and there's no access from the south side to the north side. And hopefully we can address those issues of walkability and also commuting along the trail, P&E trail, and making that usable. And then also the front of that shopping center. I mean, that's one area in town that's been totally neglected, because I see every morning going to work, I see people walking on the curb, on the sidewalk, and they're going 40 miles an hour minimum. Yeah, at there. So this is really a safety feature, and I know it costs a lot of money to make those changes, but stoplight and additional curbs and are well overdue.
Yeah, the stoplight I think will be great.
Yeah.
Right there, is it?
Coles.
Coles, I think that's been needed for such a long time, just for safety and giving people a safe place to cross through and all of that. So, yeah, I think this is both projects are sorely overdue and much needed.
And I think kind of like how we talked about the timing of 25th Street post construction of the stadium and all the trucks and things. That's also, obviously, we're going to do that after. Just so everyone's aware too, once all that rubbish is cleaned up, then we will do this.
All right, if there are no more questions or comments, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance 1397 with the extended name, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Help me procedurally here with our next item. I know we have a public hearing. Do we need to call for the public hearing first? How's that? I forget.
Just read the ordinance and then open it up for a public hearing.
Okay.
You can do it before or after council comments. It's up to you.
Okay. So our next item is ordinance 1398, which is an ordinance of the town of Speedway appropriating the proceeds of the general obligation bonds of 2024. Excuse me. And why don't I go ahead and we'll open up our public hearing at 7:33. All right, if nobody, give ample time here. If nobody wishes to make a comment, I'll close our public hearing at 7:33. Call for a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1398, an ordinance of the town of Speedway appropriating the proceeds of the general obligation bonds of 2024 on our second reading.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, any questions, comments regarding this ordinance?
I just have the same concerns that, which I stated before, with those two projects. They're way overdue, and public safety is paramount in relationship to people crossing that road.
All right, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance 1398, which is an ordinance of the town of Speedway appropriating the proceeds of the general obligation bonds of 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 5-0. Our next item is ordinance 1399, which amends water and sewers and cross connections. I believe we have Nancy from Westler here to provide us a little bit more information.
Thank you. I'm Nancy Cho with Westler Engineering. So this ordinance update pertains to keeping the town drinking water safe. A cross connection is anywhere that Speedway water is in the same vicinity as another water connection, whether it be industry, irrigation, a tank, something like that. And so we want to make sure those two things are separated. And as you guys know, the town already has a cross-connection ordinance. These are updates related to some comments that Indiana Department of Environmental Management made when they did a site visit about a month ago. So this ordinance, these updates have, the main change is to allow the town to have a cross-connection program. And so that allows the waterworks to come out and do inspections, and then also requires the owner of anywhere that could have a potential cross-connection to have annual inspections and report that back to the town.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve ordinance 1399?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1399, an ordinance amending the water and sewer cross connection.
This is the first reading.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So
We can pass it, just ask for consent. And if we get unanimous consent, then you can pass on first reading if you want to.
I'll ask for unanimous consent.
Okay, do you have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All right, any questions or comments for Nancy?
So I guess explain the, risk or dangers, or what is this trying to get at? What improvement are we trying to make with this
Sure.
in layman's terms?
So in layman's terms, you can have backflow, all of the town's water, anywhere you have a public water system, there's pipes connecting to industry, to residences and things like that. And you could have, with certain connections, you could have backflow into the system. And so you can see where, that could be dangerous if there was a chemical or a pesticide or something like that. And so this is just a check on that system to raise that level of safety. And as I said, you already have this. This is just allowing the town to keep track of it a little better.
Are you aware of any instances out there right now
No,
from an industry standpoint or
No.
private?
No.
None.
no, this is just a state requirement. Yeah.
So all the improvements that we made down Main Street, we totally separated. That was all brand-new water lines going down Main Street. And from an industry standpoint with Allison's all the way down to Praxair, those are all new lines going through. And I take it that they're approved at
They
that
would be,
point.
but the backflow prevention devices are checked annually. So they would have been in good shape when they were installed, and then this is just moving forward every year.
So this will be an annual check performed by who?
By the owner.
by the owner, and then who's responsible for turning in the information to?
There's a state certified inspector program, and so the onus would be on the owner to have that inspection done, and that certified inspector sends a form in to the state, to the town, and then they track all that.
Okay, so do we notify those owners that they're responsible for this?
We do.
So passing this will notify all the industry, and do we have to notify every citizens out there that?
So as part of the backflow prevention program, we're starting that process. And so we're putting together, a list of all the businesses. And so they'll get a survey to see if they need a backflow preventer or not, and if they have one or not. And then the Waterworks right now has a list of who has been doing the annual inspections.
Okay, so on a private resident, that's the siphon device, that, when they replace the outside spigots?
No, it would only pertain to them if they had some other connection. So if they had
Okay.
a separate, if they had a separate connection. So most residential homeowners will not need to be notified, and they won't need to take any action.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, I will call for a vote with one caveat. If you would like, since this is our first reading, if anyone would like to have further discussion on this, feel free to vote no. We can discuss further and pick this up. Is that fair?
Well, clarification. So
Okay.
you need unanimous consent to consider it, and then after that.
Oh,
you
I
have to have
see. So it'd be a
two-thirds
two-part
two-thirds
vote.
votes. The
Okay.
first one doesn't have to really be a motion. You can just ask for consent, and if someone says they don't consent, then you don't.
Okay, so how about, do we want to proceed with the second reading so that we can have a little bit more discussion? Would you
Yeah.
prefer?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was feeling. So why don't we do that? We'll pick this up, we'll get a little bit more information, and then we'll have a second reading of this ordinance.
Okay.
So, thank you, Nancy, appreciate it. Thank you, Ted. All right, our next item is ordinance 1400, which is an ordinance amending the fees for the collection of trash, recycling, and yard waste. This is our first reading. So we won't have a vote on this one, but I believe Brian has a graphic perhaps that details our proposed, yeah, there we go. I don't know if everybody can see that, but, so this graphic should detail our proposed fee down there at the bottoms of $16.70. Oh, there we go, perfect, yeah, thank you. Proposed fee of $16.75. You can see that, how that compares to our current fees, as well as to some of the other fees by surrounding cities and towns. Any additional thoughts, comments regarding this from the council?
Just also to clarify, this is including the landscape waste removal, yard waste, whereas most of the others are only the trash and recycling. So that $2 and some change is also included in that $16.75.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Trash, recycling, and landscape waste as well.
So, Philip, we issued an RFP, right? And this was, we received one response from what I recall.
That's correct.
Right, okay.
And so that RFP came back with a stair-step rate structure for us as a town, a whole over 10 years. Unfortunately, the law does not allow us to implement our own stair-step rate structure. So this would be the first year rate increase. And if we were going to follow along with the rate increase from Waste Management, each year we'll have to address it again. So this is for year one.
All right, any other questions, comments regarding?
Other than just, I know the initial shock is there. I get it, going from 11 up to $16, almost $17. I mean, it's a shock. So just want to call that out. But when we're looking at some of the other surrounding communities, I mean, it puts us kind of middle of the pack. We're not the lowest, but we're not the highest either.
But to your point, that also includes,
The landscape.
yeah,
So-
absolutely, yeah.
I would note that there will be a public hearing on this at second reading, so there will be notice and opportunity for the public to respond. Whether that meeting is the end of November or beginning of November hasn't been decided, but just to let everybody know.
Good.
Yep, thank you for that. All right, if no other conversation,
No, I think it's good that we come in with a reasonable amount in relationship, because they get 10 years for the last contract to go out, and there's been a whole number of changes, the cost of gas, I mean, fuel, personnel, equipment. You're talking a couple $1 million for some of those trash trucks, the longevity of it. And the fact is, they have to haul it to a disposal area and then pay another fee to dump it. So it's good that we're able to pull out, from a recycling standpoint, a large portion of the plastics and corrugated paper out of it. So at least we're getting, recycling some of that waste back in to another use at that period of time. But there's no way of getting around where we're at, because we don't have a trash burner like Indianapolis does, in which they can haul it down there and burn it and create other sources for it. So, but too bad we can't use theirs, but that didn't happen. That's all I got.
all right, thank you. All right, we will move to Resolution 2024-08, which is a resolution selecting Leopardo Energy P. LLC as the qualified provider of energy conservation measures for the town of Speedway, excuse me, and authorizing the town of Speedway to take all actions necessary to develop a guaranteed energy savings contract proposal. One request I'll have too is, if we do a motion here, I'd like to request that the motion authorizes 20% of the wastewater funds to be used as a down payment. So if we have a motion, I'd like to include that in the motion. And just a footnote to that, that once that down payment's paid, we will then explore financing options to recoup that down payment and get that down payment back. So, do we have a motion for Resolution 2024-08?
Sure, I'll take a stab at that, since you're adding things. No.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'll make a motion for resolution number 2024-08, a resolution selecting Leopardo Energy as a qualified provider of energy conservation measures for the town of Speedway, and authorizing the town of Speedway to take all actions necessary to develop a guaranteed energy savings contract proposal, and that 20% come from wastewater
Funds
funds
as a down payment.
as a down payment, and that we will,
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that.
okay, period.
Yeah. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Any questions or comments regarding Resolution 2024-08?
Yeah, so on paper, in theory, and as when we were first presented this, I was on board with this. As the numbers have come in and we've gotten the updated calculations on the cash flow over the next 20 years or 10, 20 years, the life of this, I'm not as comfortable moving forward with this. I'm not seeing the return and the potential of us not getting the IRS tax credit really puts this project in jeopardy, in my opinion. Again, I like the idea. I think in theory, if we could make the cash flow we had to hit into the amount of gas that we thought was being produced, that was cut in half. Some of the other cost savings that they're putting into this is through procurement. I think we can do that stuff on our own. So to me, I think it's a little bit thin ice, in my opinion. I just think when I initially saw the three options that they presented to us, and the third being the best, it basically took a step back, and I'm not seeing the deal that we were initially sold. So in my opinion, and where I'm going to land on this is a no. I just don't think that it's going to provide the benefit that they said it would provide us. So.
I had just a couple comments too. So I'm in favor of this for a couple different reasons. One, I feel confident in the positive cash flow. I feel like the estimates have been conservative up to this point. So that makes me very comfortable. I also like the idea of us assuming ownership of some of the maintenance in this project, especially even earlier than we have in our estimates. We've got indications from town employees that we should be able to take that on in hopefully 2 to 3 years, which would be substantial savings, especially on the back end. I also like the idea, currently today, we are flaring this gas byproduct, so we're basically burning it off. This project provides us a way of capturing that gas, using that gas instead of just burning that off, actually using it as fuel for some of the other things that we're doing. So it's a much more economical, I don't know if that's the right word, much more
I think efficient.
Efficient way of handling that. So, and, looking down the road, I don't know if there will ever be the potential of some type of mandate from the city or the state to, remove burning of gas in some way. And this provides us a way of doing that ahead of time. And then just, regarding the tax credit, that is a concern. But we haven't received any indication that there will be an issue. And in fact, there's been a number of other projects by this specific group, and that's never been an issue as well. So although that is a risk, I feel that's a reasonable risk for the town. So just a couple comments from me.
No, I agree with a lot of points that you made in relationship to this project. I think that the town can be a lot more efficient in the way that they're doing things. And one way that we need to lead is to show by example of converting those gases that are emitted out freely in the environment and recapturing that and becoming more efficient in relationship to the work done at the wastewater plant. I think also that our departments need to be checked by a third party on becoming efficient. We've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, and to do it, you need a stimulus from the third party to say, hey, this is not the correct way to buy that. You need to check your sources and become efficient in a relationship, because everybody has certain work hours a week, and you can't get everything done. And I mean, it's true when you come to the budgets process, which starts in April. You just got into the year, and you got to look and see, okay, how much more I can get done from a project level. We need somebody else that's going to help drive that process, and I think that's critical to the town. And I think that from a tax credit standpoint, I feel that they made promises in relationship to this, and I don't see why anybody would pull those promises back. It's to their benefit and ours to have it that way. Again, I agree with you, Jason, in relationship to the conservative estimates that were there and presented this project, and that to me is a smart way to give a program that's been out and you want it to be ongoing You want to be able to meet and beat those estimates if you're going to be in the business longer than a year, from that standpoint, and build up longevity from that standpoint. So I appreciate you making those points. That's all I got.
Well, and if I can do a little bit of rebuttal, again, the basis of the project, I'm not against. All of the points that you put out about, making efficient use of the gas, not burning that off, being better for the environment, absolutely agree. My problem is with the numbers that they laid out and hinging on a few things that to me are risky to make this thing work. I just don't think the base of the numbers are there to make it as a good deal as they've said it would. So I, again, don't disagree with any of that other points. I just looking at the numbers themselves, I've got my concerns.
Yeah. And Nick, that's totally fair, and I respect your viewpoint there. I think, with in regards to the tax credit, I don't think that there's nothing that's been presented to me that's given me, reason to believe that we would not receive that. While there is a small risk there, I think it's manageable. It's something that we should go ahead and move forward with. I think the benefits of this, like you said, the environmental benefits, the way that we're recapturing and being able to, and especially, as Jason mentioned, if we can take over the maintenance of these things a little bit faster than what they even anticipated, I think in the long run, I think this will be a positive project for the town. But I respect your comments. I appreciate the feedback that you provided, and I think they're valid concerns. I think that I just see it a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Any other questions, comments regarding Resolution 2024-08? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of passing Resolution 2024-08, which selects Leopardo Energy as the qualified provider of energy conservation measures for the town of Speedway, and authorizing the town of Speedway to take all actions necessary to develop a guaranteed energy savings contract proposal with the addendum of requesting authorization of 20% of the wastewater funds to be used as a down payment. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
That passes 4-1.
I hope it works. I will say that. I really hope I'm wrong on this. Don't tell my wife. But I hope I am wrong, but I gotta vote my
Of course,
my
yeah.
principles here.
Appreciate the conversation, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, our next item is approval of claims and utility adjustments. Philip?
Thank you. This evening, I do have requests for both for you for the time period of October 3rd through October 23rd. The adjustments are on 4 pages, and it's for 8 customers. And sorry about hitting the microphone there. And the claims are on 20 pages, and they total $2,726,767.14.
I'll make a motion that we approve claims and utility adjustments as presented by our clerk treasurer.
I'll second that.
All right, any questions or comments regarding the claims and utility adjustments? If there are none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of approving claims and utility adjustments, say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes 5-0. Our next item is a decision about health insurance. And Philip, do you have more information you'd like to share?
Thank you. Yes, please. The public may remember from last year that we made a significant change going from fully insured to a self-insured model. Pleased to say that we seem to be doing well with our first year and have built up some significant reserves. Unfortunately, it seems like every year, though, it's going to be one of these things where we don't get firm quotes back from the insurance companies until the last minute, and so then I'm asking you to make a decision with a fairly quick turnaround. I do have a few slides. So the first page of your packet, and then we can go ahead to the zoomed in portion since the public probably won't be able to actually read that. But on the first slide and on the first page of your sheet, you do have 8 different options that we received firm quotes on. And then you see a notation there from some other options that we pursued but did not receive quotes back on. The option I'm recommending is option 4. This would be for us to remain with Anthem as our administrator, so that would be the side that faces the employee as well as then the healthcare providers. And so that hopefully that would be the least disruptive for our employees. And in theory, they will still get an Anthem insurance card that looks the same as their one from this year, and hopefully that'll go smoothly. The part that would change this year is that our stop-loss carrier, or what's sometimes called a reinsurance carrier, would switch from Anthem to Verus Optum. And in consultation with our brokerage, Brown & Brown, I feel like this is our best of the options that were quoted to us there. Just as a recap, maybe from last year for some people, a reinsurance carrier or a stop-loss carrier provides a maximum level of exposure for the town. So we're the self-insurer, but then this kind of backstops us and limits the total exposure that we would have in a given year. And so if you or the public are kind of trying to look at the bottom line there, once you get through all the different details, so you would look at the total annualized maximum costs and the total annualized expected costs. I think those are the ones that really are worth keying in when you're trying to evaluate the different options here. If we go on to the next page, this is our dental renewal cost comparisons. I am recommending that we stay with Anthem. This is so dental and vision are still fully insured. And we could get a slightly better deal with United Healthcare this year, but then that would mean that our employees would have to deal with multiple insurance cards and things like that. So in my estimation, it's not worth the small savings that we would get to kind of split that up. So I'm recommending that we stick with Anthem for our dental. Similarly, vision is a rate hold from Anthem on the next page. Yeah. Here again, United Healthcare would beat them, so I think it's worth us always going back to the market and kind of looking, if there's a tipping point where on the health portion of it that United Healthcare is a better option, because they try very hard to remain competitive, then it's something that we need to continue to look at each year, because there may come a point where it's worth making that switch despite a little bit of disruption. But again, for this year, I don't think that the minuscule savings there on vision are worth us switching from Anthem. The next slide, I think that the main takeaway here is the bottom row there, and I think some of it got a little bit cut off there as I was trying to jockey this around, but that bottom row there is what the premium increase would need to be to fund the expected liability. And if, again, we go to the highlighted recommendation there, we would need to do approximately a 4.6% overall premium increase. Now, every premium that we're talking about here has an employee side and an employer side, and the employer side dramatically dwarfs the employee side. The employees don't pay very much into it. It's definitely my hope, and the preliminary numbers look like we should be able to absorb that increase on the employer side, so that as I hope to finalize these numbers for our open enrollment, that hopefully the employees will not see an increase on their side of the premiums. We move to the next page. This is kind of another way to look at the same thing, but there again, if you go to the highlighted row and you go to the 4.6, the magic number there, that's what basically gets us at a even or, very slight increase to our reserves if we were to go at expected. Fingers crossed, historically, we haven't even been at expected. We've come in under that, which is why this year we were able to build up some considerable reserves. So hopefully that will continue that way. Although we do know that the likelihood is in a say a given 5-year span, you're eventually going to have a bad year that's going to, that's why you have the reserves. So we have to keep that in mind, if that happens next year or the year after that, that we don't get too skittish, that we kind of prepare to stay the course for at least 5 years to kind of see how it works itself out. So certainly willing to try to field any questions you might have, but would be asking for a few different things if you are inclined to do so at this point, which is if you would approve the quote number 4, and then if you would empower me to go ahead and contract with both of those entities up to a maximum cost amount. And I've had that just a little bit in case as the numbers come out through the negotiations, if there's some give there that wasn't properly accounted for. And that you would also approve for us to do Anthem for fully insured vision and dental. Allow me to update the premiums as those numbers actually work out in reality. And then we have traditionally allowed the library, they have a fairly small employee pool, we've allowed them to join our insurance so that they can benefit from our larger pool of insured. And at least so far this year, when we look at the numbers, they've actually kind of been a net positive for us. We need to evaluate that every year if it suddenly becomes a problem or for either party. But my hope is that you would allow me to update the MOU so that they could vote in on it on I think they have a meeting on Wednesday, and then it would come back to us for your final approval after that.
All right, I'd like to make a motion for approval of the quote number 4 with Anthem as our claims administrator and Verus Optum as our stop loss carrier, as well as authorize the clerk treasurer to contract with both entities up to the annualized maximum cost of $2.8 million. Also, approval of quotes for Anthem for fully insured vision and dental. Also authorize our clerk treasurer to update employee and employer premiums for health, vision, and dental accordingly. And then finally, authorize the clerk treasurer to proceed with updating an MOU with the library.
I'll second that.
Good job, Nick. Hey, Philip, I did have a question. I didn't see United Healthcare's on the first page. Did they give us a quote for their health, or is that one of these over here that wasn't? Was this number 8 that they were?
I think that's,
okay.
yeah, that's number 8, right, Philip?
They quoted us for fully insured there.
But not
And-
self.
Well, UMR is the name for their self-insured
Oh, okay,
version,
okay,
so.
So number
5 and 6.
5 and 6. Okay, thank you.
I had a couple quick things too. First, I want to thank Philip for doing thorough research. You can see this packet that he prepared for us. We saw a little bit of up on the screen there. He thoroughly explored all the different options available to the town, and really appreciate him having the best interests of our town and employees in mind as he was going through this process. The amount of information was pretty insane. So thank you for that. Also, hopefully I'm okay saying this, but there will be increases in cost as we've seen in some of these documents here, but there should be a zero cost increase or net zero to town employees. So that means that basically the town will be absorbing those insurance costs on behalf of employees. So just want to point out that too, because there's a lot of numbers kind of thrown in there. So again, yeah, thank you for all your work on this.
Well, thank you. I do have to credit Brown & Brown. I've been very pleased with them as our brokers. They've broken a lot of this down for me. Just on your point, that is definitely my goal. There is, under Obamacare, we are required to raise the deductible. So it'll go up by about, I think, $100. So our hands are tied on that, but the deductible has to go up for $100 for the employees.
So as far as the coverage, everything is staying the same?
Yeah, the goal is for the employee side of it to really be seamless. So once we approve the quote, then we'll get the firm contract details from them. But as it's been explained to me, the general outlines of their coverage should stay the same.
Only question I have is Anthem, have they ever denied coverage of a claim that you're aware of during we've been with them for a year on anything? Or our employees have been happy with the services that they've been receiving?
I've not received complaints in that regard. Early on, we had multiple people were receiving, it seemed like a new insurance card every month for some reason or something like that. There was just hiccups with the processing on the back end. I guess really we're the ones paying the claims, so I haven't seen anything to indicate that. I'm sure there are things that get denied, but it's not been conveyed to me that there's anything out of the ordinary.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving our health insurance plan presented by Philip, which includes 5 items. Approval of the quote 4 with Anthem as our claims administrator and Veris Optum as stop-loss carrier. Authorize the clerk treasurer to conduct with both entities up to an annualized maximum cost of $2.8 million. Approval of quotes for Anthem for fully insured vision and dental. Authorize the clerk treasurer to update employee and employer premiums for health, vision, and dental accordingly. And authorize the clerk treasurer to proceed with updating an MOU with the library. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Okay, our next item is report from counselors, and we'll start with Counselor Sarah Gardner.
Yes, just a few items tonight. Most people obviously know Halloween is Thursday. Trick-or-treating hours in Speedway are 6 to 8, so I think, again, just to, I actually got a text from my brother today asking that, so just a reminder of that this evening, Thursday. And then Friday, November 15th, I know Cheryl's really excited about her first movie at the Plaza on Main Street. So if you haven't seen that yet, once a month, there will be a movie at the new Plaza on Main. They already have the equipment in, and a local business will be sponsoring a new movie every single month. So it's a great way to go out, have dinner, bring your family. It's all kid friendly. So just another way to just be out and enjoy a free night out on the town. So thank you, Cheryl, for that, and amongst all the other things that you do. But those were just the 2 that I had tonight.
Thank you, Counselor. Next is Counselor Sean Harold.
Nothing for me tonight.
All right. Counselor Vince Noblet.
Yeah, just to back up what Sarah was saying in relationship, the screen is out there in the lobby.
Oh, yeah.
And that's huge. And
That's it right there.
That's the screen.
I walked right
yeah, and so Cheryl might say, things that you need to bring along with you, like a chair. Do we have enough seating out there? Make sure from that standpoint. And if it's big enough crowd, I guess we'd have to close down 14th, or direct a few people away. But I think that's a great use of the pocket park, and to get people using to come into events and knowing that they're there. And I think, should we have the fire? Is that going? The hand warming area? That's another thing. Once we're going to need that, especially if you're going to be out there late from that end of it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You did talk about bringing in heaters if needed. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, what the weather brings.
Yeah.
You never know. But she's going to try to do it all winter long. So just pending.
Okay.
You never know. We have some mild days sometimes. So you never know. Kids don't get cold.
Yeah, I think, again, I think this is the time of year that you're taking care of a lot of yard waste and leaves and gardens and things that need to be picked up, and time is getting short, and I think our trash service runs through the end of November.
Yeah.
Yeah, right around there. So we keep that in mind. Also appreciate all the volunteerism that's taking place out in the town as helping elderly and individuals that are in need of help basically come out and join in. And I'll see if Cheryl can pass out a few reminders to the public, and so we can get a good crowd out there and take care of as many people as possible. I know that. There is from a heavy trash pickup, and I think, it's an awareness problem I think that we're having out there. People always want, they have stuff, but they can't, either they can't get it out of their garage or they can't drag it to that front yard. Most of my stuff is taken before the heavy trash truck even gets there, from that. And, but I think that's a good service that we need to reiterate to the public, and especially that you can have a pickup specifically for you. There's a charge associated with it, but you can call in and get that charge, and they'll stop by and pick up even during off regular pickups for that is concerned. So, something that I didn't know about. Yeah. I always took it down to street department or whatever, myself. But no, I hope everybody has a safe Halloween, and I'm looking forward to this fall and moving on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Vice President Sturgeon.
Speaking of time, it's daylight savings time ends this weekend. So be sure you set your clocks back an hour going into Saturday night, Sunday morning. Also a good time to check your fire alarms, smoke alarms. So just as I'm sure I'll get a pat on the back from Chief Fishburne for that one. No, I know it was another packed agenda tonight, a lot of stuff that we're doing. This is just the tip of the iceberg, at the time that, comes up. But the council has been busy all year, been, just nonstop, which is good. Appreciate the civic discourse. I think that's what makes this, to me, very enjoyable experience with you four, being able to have disagreements, do it civilly, and be able to express that and continue the town running and not coming to the point where it's causing issues with the town not being able to provide services or whatnot. So just thank you guys for that. That's, we've got to work together. We're not always going to agree on things, and we just wanted to say thank you, appreciate that. But happy Halloween, and don't forget mom or dad tax on the candy from your kids.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
All right, thank you, Nick. Yeah, I had just a couple, two things real quick. So one, obviously Grant wasn't here with us tonight. Hopefully he feels better soon. He wasn't feeling that great today, but he still made sure we were all prepared for this meeting, and I think we were all very appreciative of that. Second, just want to reiterate too, always want to hear from the community. So all of us, I think I speak on behalf of all of us, we welcome comments from the community. You can get in touch with us through the town website. If you have any, our phone, email, all of that's on there too. Please let us know. We really like hearing from you, always willing to discuss, and want to hear from you even if your opinions are different from our own. So please keep the comments coming. Appreciate that. So with that, our 18th meeting of 2024 is adjourned at 8:18 p.m.